are you part of the ambulance corps now? Right, you
Yeah.
are. Yeah, nice. CVAC.
Yep. Yep. Yep.
Nice.
Yep.
The Louisville police say they fired inside Taylor's home only after they were first fired upon by Walker, Taylor's boyfriend. They say that Walker wounded one of the officers who was hit in the leg, but was suspected to make a full recovery. Walker was charged with attempted murder of a police officer, though the charge was dismissed in May, which is kind of insane because, like, he didn't know as a police officer, clearly. And is that, but I don't know, is that legally allowed? Like, I mean, that should be, like, if you think someone's about to come into your home, then you would have legal right to shoot them, most likely, right? Like, if you think if for self-defense purposes?
Yeah. Well, I mean,
depending
on the state, but yeah. I mean, if someone breaks into your house, I think, yeah, you have the right to shoot them pretty much.
Okay.
Well, I mean, unless they, like, it's kind of complicated. If you point a gun at them and they leave, well, then no, you can't. But, like, if you warn them and you're like, don't walk into this room, and then they break in, then yeah, you can shoot them in some states. But you would still go to trial though for murder, but you probably just wouldn't get convicted.
So yeah, the police officers also assert that they knocked several times and identified themselves as police officers with a warrant before entering the apartment. Walker said that he and Taylor heard aggressive banging at the door and asked who it was, but they did not hear an announcement that it was the police. The police said that officers, that the officers forced entry into the exterior door and were immediately met with gunfire. The officers returned fire, the police said. One of the officers, Hankinson, was fired. The other officers, Mr. Mattingly and Mr. Cosgrove, Miles Cosgrove, have been placed on administrative reassignment. Hankinson appealed his firing, but a hearing for the case has been delayed pending the completion of a criminal investigation. So that is complete now. So Taylor's relatives and their lawyers, however, say that the police never identified themselves before entering, despite their claims, and they also say that Walker was licensed to carry a gun. Walker obviously said that he feared for his life and fired in self-defense, believing that someone was trying to break into the home. He didn't know that they were police officers, and they found no drugs in the apartment. He was scared for his and her life. That's his lawyer, Rob Eggert, talking. In 9/11 call, just after shots were fired, Walker told a dispatcher, again, somebody kicked in the door and shot my girlfriend. So very, very disturbing, to say the least. And I mean, I don't know what the house looked like. Didn't get the full floor plan there, but so I don't know how he could have seen what he could have seen. But it is really kind of a scary situation. That is for sure. But in terms of what is going on the ground now in Louisville, we can definitely check in on that. And of course,
should we talk about Amy Barrett? ?
We should. But I do want to get to see if there's some protests right now. I'm trying to see if there's any kind of violence. There's a 9 p.m. curfew that was announced on Monday. So they kind of knew.
I'm on woke on Twitch right now. Let's see. Whoa. In Austin, there's like a bunch of police running. That looks pretty crazy.
First standoff between police and protesters. Protesters started marching through the streets shortly after the decision was announced as a helicopter buzzed overhead. It's kind of scary. Mayor Greg Fisher ordered curfew from 6:30 p.m. to 9 p.m. to 6:30 a.m. for the next 3 nights. For about 10 minutes, a group of 150 protesters blocked an intersection just outside a barricade. Protesters argued with angry drivers, and most cars turned around. Within minutes, more than a dozen police officers arrived, and the protest continued down Broadway. Block by block, the police caravan followed. Some armed with assault rifles stood by their vehicles. So it definitely looks like the police came expecting a war here and doesn't really seem to look like they have gotten one.
Well,
it's a loud.
Who knows? Because there's a bunch of militias.
It's being characterized.
Like the MAGA boys.
I don't know if they're going to be here on such short notice, but
no, I saw
maybe over the weekend.
It was like on Twitter.
Oh, okay. So yeah, this is a reporter here. After a loud but peaceful march of about 2 hours, police in riot gear confronted protesters and began pushing them. A chemical agent was used, and the officers began arresting protesters, dragging some to the ground by the collar. Officers then declared an unlawful assembly. So really just cutting it down as soon as they can, because of course the thought is at 9 p.m. things could get violent. That is, of course, the justification there for the curfew. Near Jefferson Park, after a march around the city had returned, police arrested a handful of demonstrators. Officers used their batons to push through 30 protesters closer and closer together until people were shoulder to shoulder, almost Battle of the Bastards style. There, after about a minute, the police opened a hole in the barricade and allowed the crowd to escape. Which is kind of like why does it take? Why don't you just let them leave if that's what you want? I don't know. All right, we're going to move on now. We're going to talk some politics, folks. We have a big Supreme Court vacancy, of course, and a fun announcement this
Republican supermajority. What?
6-3 Supreme Court. We're gonna all die. All right, what's your thoughts on RBG? And first of all, what do you think the Democrats should do about this? Because
I don't even have a thought. This is like, I hate everything. The Democrats are hypocrites. The Republicans are even worse hypocrites.
How are the Democrats hypocrites?
Because they're like flipping their opinion.
What was their opinion before?
Well, the people who were saying that fucking Obama should... Well, to their credit, they're saying, like, oh, the precedent was set. But a lot of them are actually flipping their opinions and saying, oh, Obama should be allowed to do it. Well, because it's like, then you're saying if the president is the president, then they should just be allowed to do it no matter what. Okay? But now they're saying the reverse. I mean, it's nothing compared to the Republicans, but...
Here's what I say. I mean, honestly, there's no question in my mind Obama should have gotten that Supreme Court seat. It was ridiculous.
Yeah, but then how can you say that Trump shouldn't now?
Because if you go by the same standards, then you're violating the standards.
Yeah, but no, I get what you're saying. But then no, I'm saying personally. Like if you think that
I'll be
Obama
honest
should
here.
have.
I'll be honest here. Like if I were a Republican, I would completely support what Mitch McConnell's doing. And
yeah. No, but
because like you got the chance, like so much is at stake. Like the Supreme Court's like huge deal, and like you can't pass that chance up. But it is.
I don't know why they didn't just proceed. Wait, did they have a majority in 2014, 2016? I mean,
who?
Republicans in the
House.
Republicans. I mean the Senate. In the Senate.
Republicans in the Senate. So they were
this
able to
could have been
stop
avoided. Obviously, okay. This is like Republican think tank mode. If they could have just avoided it by going through the proceedings and then just voting him down for like other reasons.
I mean yeah, but they still didn't even do that. That's the funny thing.
Yeah, but no, they had to make a big fucking stink out of it, and now they're like dirty hypocrites. But it's like, what the fuck does it even matter? I got like this.
And I mean, they're used
joke
to,
now. Who cares?
Honestly, yeah, it's like it's hard
like,
to get. It's hard to get
another day at the job. Like, what could they even do?
Honestly, though, but like the Supreme Court's where most of the stuff gets decided, though. Like, think about it. Like, you got the election coming up. You got huge rulings about climate change, healthcare, abortion. Yeah. Every issue under the sun is probably going to go through the Supreme Court because the politicians can't. Like, the politicians who are supposed to legislate don't legislate anymore. So everything's going to have to get appealed and pushed back to the courts, including literally the possibility of the next president. So, like, there's a lot of things that could happen there. Like, there really is.
Yeah.
Like, it could go wrong, I think, 6 ways to Sunday there. And of course, have you heard anything about Amy Coney Barrett or whatever?
What, Scalia Jr. over there? I don't know much about her. I was just reading on her today. I just know.
I know she's a
big pro-lifer, right?
She's big. Yeah, she's Catholic.
I know she probably doesn't like gay marriage, something like that.
Yeah, I heard she's very, very strong on life begins at conception. Amy Coney Barrett.
Where is it? I mean,
and of course she's a great quote about confirming justices in election year and being against it from 2016.
Wait, what's the argument? What's the argument for abortion rights? Is it what? It's the right to privacy, right? But I feel like you could argue under the Ninth Amendment as well.
It's the argument for the I think that's how they did it in Roe v. Wade, because it's not like explicitly the right to abortion. I think it's the right to privacy to or something like that, which makes it so shaky. But yeah,
it's a fundamentally poor argument, but
the most accurate. It's like legally.
I think there are better arguments. I think you could say it's an enumerated right that you control your own body. It's not, you know what I mean? But I guess it's like, I don't know. That's a tough decision to make because Ninth Amendment doesn't really get used that often.
So for some Barrett biography, I guess we can go to the most accurate website in the world, Wikipedia. Barrett considers herself a public meaning originalist. Her judicial philosophy has been likened to that of her mentor and former boss, Antonin Scalia. So,
like best friend of RBG. Fun fact.
Oh my gosh, that picture of them in the opera. Have you seen that?
Yeah, they're like best friends.
It's
literally
really something. Yeah, I mean, honestly, like if you look at RBG's legacy. And honestly, you know what? We could really kill two birds with one stone, because after this, I'm going to do for AP Government when I have to do it. I have to do it Padlet, remembering RBG.
Oh, Padlet, that's like, fun.
Honestly, I don't even have like. If you look at RBG's like legacy, I mean, there's plenty of stuff along like social issues, but there's also some like she's like definitely someone who, shall we say, it's clear that she was born when she was born, which was a long time ago. Like, she said she's like very kind of illiberal on, like, for example, Colin Kaepernick situation. She's ruled against kind of environmental activists quite a few times. So
no, that sounds like classic liberalism. Like no,
against
not like classic air quotes liberalism, like classical liberalism.
So
I mean,
you mean like the Dave Rubin style?
Like Thomas Locke liberalism.
In what way?
I mean, you're preserving the balance between government power and economic freedom. Like you have to draw the line somewhere. I think that's just where she chose to draw it. But she was progressive on social issues.
Oh, are you talking about with the Kaepernick thing?
What was her opinion on that?
I think she said it was dumb or something like that. It was the word she used.
I mean, a lot of liberals thought it was dumb.
Most liberals were supportive of it. Like,
well, you can agree with his opinion, but then also be like, it's like unhelpful to disrespect the flag. I don't think her.
No, I think that's like I don't think it was as poorly received as you make it out to be at the time. Like it certainly got a lot of harsh reaction from like conservatives, but
I don't even remember, if I'm being honest.
Yeah, I do remember like playing baseball, where like playing in a baseball game. So this was like a long time. This was like 2016 where this was happening, I think. The story is from 2016 where I saw it. But it's like, and then the guy being like, the coach being just like, oh, it's such a disgusting guy.
Yeah.
About Colin Kaepernick.
Well, I mean, say what you want about her being like born when she was born. I doubt like people today have the same ability to be so, I don't even know what I mean, like social, I guess you could say, with their political opposition.
Yeah, I mean, to an extent, though, I mean, being social with your, like, getting along with, like, political opposition, I mean, I personally, I think that's fine, that's all well and good, but, like, you can be friends with them, but, like, and you can be kind of, like, bipartisan with them, but, like, I think you gotta acknowledge that there's, like, real differences. And
but I think sometimes lefties think they're arguing against Republican politicians. Instead, I feel like most Republicans, well, I don't know about most. I don't think Republicans are inherently bad people. I think a lot of them just want the best for our country, and they just disagree on the way to get there.
Yeah, I mean, I guess, I mean, I see what you're saying. Like, I feel like there's things that if I talk to almost anybody, like all agree with them on, and like I mean, I also think it's like it's important like to have a debate with someone